The Ash, Lutzi and Susie O'Neill podcast.
What to watch? A D23 special episode. It's usually just me talking this nonsense, but Producer Lachie, you've jumped on board this one. G'day.
Yeah, hello.
Because we wanted to, What to Watch is all about talking about what to watch now with an eye to the future. And there was, we're all familiar with Comic-Con, which is on a couple of weeks ago, which is, I think even if you're not in that sort of inside world movie and TV nerd sort of space, you are aware of some big things that comes out of it. You know, that Robert Downey Jr. getting announced to be coming back to Marvel was one thing. You don't have to be into superhero films to know that was a big deal because it kind of took over the internet for a couple of days. D23 is Disney's own Comic-Con, basically, where they just sort of focus in on their own projects. And
it's massive.
It is. It's gotten so much bigger to the point where a couple of years ago, there was talk that Disney weren't even going to bring anything, either Marvel, Lucasfilm, who do Star Wars, Indiana Jones, and all their other little things along the way, that Disney overall weren't going to bring anything of their movie and TV side of productions to Comic-Con anymore because they'd be wasting it when they could just charge people for tickets to go to D23. So they get two bites of the cherry within like a month. And they had it over the weekend. So it was huge. And there was some big reveals, some exclusive looks and things that, we were talking about just off the mic. And we said, hey, look, there's some stuff out there that people might want to know and the stuff that we're very interested in and that you're going to want to, be watching in the not too distant future.
I guess in radio, there's the idea that you tease and you go, hey, this is coming up on the show. We are doing, what you would call a real deep tease by going, hey, coming up in a couple of months' time, you'll be able to watch these, I guess, on Disney Plus or in cinemas as well. So,
and just even something that might pop up in 2 years. And you'll be like, I swear I've known about that. And I'm like, bloody hell, Mitch and Lachie were onto that back at the mid-stage of 2024.
I like that you imply onto that as if we've discovered it. No, we're just...
Well... Yeah, but
we're making you aware if you're not.
I said the Robert Downey Jr. thing. The thing is, you don't even, like I said, you have to be into the superhero space to know that he was Iron Man. It was a big deal. He hasn't been around for a couple of years. He'll be back in 2 years. You'll see him on a poster, and someone will be like, I thought he wasn't doing that anymore. I thought he was Iron Man. It's like, dude, this has been out there. So we're doing that. We're giving you the inside knowledge to jump on board and just have maybe some water cooler sort of stuff. So anyway, there's a lot going. There's like Pixar stuff, Star Wars, Marvel, all their different things along the way. So we could just sort of rattle through it. But what was one thing that really caught your eye? Because do I want to have a guess and say some Pixar stuff? Or?
Yeah, look, I am... It's no secret to those who know me, I'm a massive fan of Pixar. Yeah. Like I love and have loved like all of Pixar's movies. I think they're
great.
They're great. I have a book that is written by one of the co-founders of Pixar, Ed Catmull. If that name means anything to you, and that book genuinely changed the way that I saw a whole bunch of different things in terms of workplace and leadership. I honestly, I quit a job because I was like,
really?
I don't want to work in a place that's not like this.
Yeah, right.
And the way that I saw in the book. So I honestly, I love Pixar. And so a couple of massive announcements. We're getting Incredibles 3, which I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one that I've been wanting. I think my kids only a couple of months ago said, when's number 3 coming out? Like it's just a given because there was a number 2. And I'm like, mate, you don't realize we had to wait for 14 years between the first Incredibles and the second. Because Pixar famously, for the longest time, they don't. Aside from Toy Story, really, they just didn't do sequels. It was only the last couple of years that they went, we're going to do a Finding Dory. We're going to do an Inside Out 2. And it was like, okay, new management. You had Bob Iger, who's the chief executive of Disney. He left, he quit. We had this guy come in, Bob Chapek, who was just basically greenlighting everything. And if you're a Marvel watcher, even if not a fan, but a watcher, a casual watcher, and you've looked at the last couple of years of their content, went, is everybody getting a show? And there's so much, there's so many movies, there's so many TV series. It's because this guy came in and he was more about like the Disney parks and basically making that money. Everyone wants to make money. Yep. The other big boss wanted to make money, but it was like, let's make money through quality. The other bloke was like, well, let's do quantity and hope that quality comes along. So the fact that we didn't get, I think, an announcement on an Incredible 3 sooner surprises me a lot. I'm glad that we didn't because I I love the first one, and I really, really, really like the second one as well. I don't think it was a sequel that dipped down huge in quality. It was still written and directed by the same bloke.
Brad Bird, he's back again. He's going to do the third one.
And I wouldn't want to watch it without him.
No.
I think it's very much to his style. I think we need that. And I think the chemistry between, even though they're voice actors, they're probably doing recordings in different days. I think that one movie, 14 years later into the second film, it was like they recorded it in the same week. So I'm really excited about a third one, and I don't really care if we don't get it for another 5 or 6 years, because if it's going to be good, just let us wait. The last one was excellent. So
I believe there's going to be a Toy Story 5. They're coming back for round 6, technically, if you include Lightyear in there.
See, when you said you're a Pixar guy, that was honestly one of the first proper conversations we had when you started working here, because it was just on the eve of Lightyear coming out. And so you're working, getting to know you. I'm doing what I do, you're doing what you do. We obviously work together, but a lot of the day we're sitting separately and in different rooms, different areas, dealing with different things. And so we didn't have a lot of time to really get to know you. And I'm a couple of years older than you as well, to put it lightly. So there is that generational gap. But then something come along, Lightyear, and you just stopped by my desk and really unleashed your thought. Not unleashed, like you were just like,
I think it's okay to say that I didn't like the movie.
But you saw it and you were just like, it's not true to the Buzz Lightyear character. And I hadn't seen it. I was going to see it that day, and I was like, man, this kid's really passionate about something that I love it. It's not like, these movies don't necessitate passion, but I'm like, I think you're looking for stuff that's not necessarily. I don't think you need to be fired up about the stuff that you are getting fired up about. And then I would go and see it, and
respectfully disagree. But
But I like it. Oh no, mate, we could sit here and talk about the other side of stuff that we will touch in a second with Marvel and Star Wars, and you would say the same thing. It doesn't matter. I agree. There is stuff. I just meant don't. Yeah, let's get just the
down.
Current culture. Again, I didn't know you, and I was worried that you're just part of the current internet comment culture, which is not necessarily. Let's not watch something and judge it. Let's hear about someone else and what they have to say. Jump on that bandwagon and say all the bad stuff and repeat it without actually having seen it. And then as soon as you see something, you're looking for controversy. So you've changed. You've changed that since. I know that you're not
that perception.
You're just not like that, and I've come to know that. So yes, I'm a bit surprised too, because I was surprised they were coming back for a fourth movie. Fourth movie was fine. I don't hate it. It's the lesser of the four.
Yeah.
And they went out with a great trilogy capper with number 3. So I don't know that they need to do a 5.
What I'm interested about 5. Here's the thing. I once again not a massive fan of 4, but that's a personal opinion. I like that they're trying to then look at nowadays. We've got screen time. I guess competing. You've got 4 kids.
Yep.
You know that they are probably wanting to have more screen time, definitely than you had when you were growing up. Mm-hmm. And so there's been a shift generationally, is what I should say, away from maybe physical toys, maybe more towards screens. And that's what they're going to explore in this Toy Story 5. So I'm excited to see how that plays out. I know, ironically, Incredibles 2 spoke to how we're slave to screens.
Yeah.
So I wonder, if there's going to be any kind of messaging they're going to try and push across, or whether it'll just be a fun, playful thing.
Yeah.
That Woody, Buzz, the whole gang are going to have to try and, I guess, vie for the attention of these kids.
Yeah, and where do physical toys, especially old school ones like that, fit in with nowadays?
Yeah.
And like, what is this franchise? I know, again, you're a lover of it, but it really seems to be aging with me in the sense that when the first Toy Story movie came out in 95, what was Andy, like 8? Yeah. I was 9. Right, so then when I go to watch number 3 and he's saying goodbye to his toys,
and that's what the mastery of number 3 was. Yeah, was that they aged it, with the original audience. Yeah, and so now there's a new generation of Toy Story lovers. I'll be fascinated to see how that plays out. Yeah, what it means, and whether those movies haven't hit my kids the same way they hit me, and with number 4 and having like let go of stuff and it finding a new home, blah blah blah. But number 5, screen time. I wonder whether this will be where it actually grabs the kids of today, while also appealing to their parents, I guess.
Yeah. So
Pixar also announced Hoppers. It was a new original film starring John Hamm, Bobby Moynihan, who also was on SNL for a while, and Piper Curda. So that's coming in their spring 2026. So that'll be our
So we got that sort of June hit anyway. Yeah, May, June. Yeah, okay.
And then Elio, which was a movie that's been in the works for a while at Pixar,
Yes.
and that's coming summer 2025. So next year, this time, you will see Elio.
I saw Zoe Saldana was cast as or revealed to be one
Yep.
of the lead voices of that over the weekend.
That looks to be exploring, I guess, kind of intergalactic space. Kind of a world. It looks kind of alien-like, alien-adjacent, which is good. What I also find fascinating about Pixar is that there's going to be a couple of new TV series. So there's a spin-off series based on Riley's mind in Inside Out. So they're doing a dream series where in the second movie, in the first movie, you see that I guess the characters in her mind play characters out in her dreams. There's going to be a whole TV series dedicated to that. I guess that'll be on Disney Plus. And then there's a first ever original series, which will be available on December 6th. It's called Win or Lose, and that looks to be centered around baseball. So, I mean, I'm a massive fan of the Mighty Ducks growing up and a lot of those sports movies.
Yeah. God, we need, honestly, where are they at the moment? I wanted to bring back, your little Giants, your Mighty Ducks.
They brought back the Mighty Ducks as
Sandlot kids. Did you ever see the Sandlot?
Yep, I was across that as well. They brought back the Mighty Ducks for a TV series.
Yeah,
they did
Challenges or something?
Game Changers or something like that.
Yeah, I've actually still never seen it, yeah.
I wonder whether Win or Lose. It's an animated, so it's not live action like the Mighty Ducks was. But I wonder if that'll be a fun little TV show to get around. So I think that's all the news from Pixar. A couple more like Disney animated stuff. We're going to see another Frozen. There's another Zootopia.
Well, two more because the 3's in the works, and then 4's coming as well. Yeah, so
Zootopia 2 is coming.
I loved Zootopia.
Zootopia is a great movie.
Yeah, I love Jason Bateman. I love his voice. So him as that fox was great. So yeah, that movie was good. And because is there a TV show around that?
Zootopia? I don't believe so.
Okay.
On the Frozen news, there is going to be the Frozen musical will be coming to screens. So they've done a live shot of it.
Like Hamilton, what they did with Disney
exactly
Plus.
the same as Hamilton. So they've done a live shot of Frozen the musical, so you'll be able to watch that. And I do know that Frozen the musical is different to the movie. There's some extra songs in there. Things are slightly different. So that'll be great to watch. I believe Hercules is coming to...
Oh, live-action Hercules.
Live-action Hercules.
That's one of my favourite of their animations as well. I haven't watched it in 100 years. I need to introduce my kids to that.
Well, that's going to West End. So it's going to be a stage show musical on West End.
Okay.
They're taking Hercules to the stage. I believe there was another announcement, another stage announcement. Which
Yeah, right. Geez, they're really diving into that arena.
Yeah. I love it. I'm a big fan of musicals. That's another part of me that I kind of nerd out about. Is this idea of taking these iconic I guess entities, these iconic like we've had Aladdin, we've had Beauty and the Beast. I just saw that when it was in Brisbane a couple of months ago, and that was fantastic. The Lion King. So many of these iconic Disney films are perfect for the stage, and to then see how they choose to adapt it for the stage, for me is fascinating.
I've never been Lion King, arguably my favorite animated movie of all time. I've never been that interested in seeing that on the stage because I can't quite buy into the way the costuming is done, at least for the lions. Again, I've only seen snippets, so maybe if I went and watched it, I would love it. But only recently I went and saw Disney on Ice. Loved all of that, and then all of a sudden you hear that Hans Zimmer score come through with Lion King, and they come out. And maybe it was just some limitations with regard to the fact they're skating on ice. Yeah. So they have to... I was like, I feel like I don't like those costumes. And so it took me out a little bit. So maybe I need to see the stage play.
You really need to, because... Yeah. I understand your hesitancy, but there is something about puppetry that you forget that there's a person there. Once your eyes almost adjust, once you're sitting there for a couple of minutes and you're going, oh, okay, no, I can actually see now that these are people and puppets.
Yeah.
But the way in which they become one is incredible, and I love. As a musical theater nerd, I love watching a show and seeing how they stage it, and a set will appear out of nowhere. It'll come out of the ground and go, how do they just do that? There's a whole nother level of mastery that you don't get to necessarily appreciate because it's not there when you're watching a movie.
Yeah.
So that'll be one to watch. Moana 2 is another animated one.
Okay. So, I mean, there's always room for everything. But in my house, I like to, because, I mean, Frozen for years and years, everyone's Frozen. Frozen's the greatest thing. I'm like, we're not a Frozen house. We're a Moana house. Like,
Okay.
we love that movie so much in my house. And it's like, I've only just had a daughter the last couple of years. I had 3 boys, and we're getting around singing How Far I'll Go. My kids absolutely love it. My daughter's finally getting into it now, so it's giving us a new excuse to watch it. I love it. I want more. When they announced that they were doing a live action, I'm like, well, cool. I mean, you've got all the actors that could basically just reprise their roles. The Rock, obviously. You've got the voice actress who I know I'd butcher her name if I try to pronounce it from memory, for Moana. Which has actually ended up going to an Australian girl. I forget her first name. Lagaya. You know Jay Lagaya?
Yes.
Yeah, his daughter. I don't have her name in front of me. She's and I think they're about to, if they haven't already, I think it was an August start date to filming the live action Moana. And I'm wondering whether there'll be some changes to the story from the animated into a live action for that one in particular.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm just wondering what they can translate. But the sequel idea I like because they announced it around the same time. They said, yeah, we're definitely moving forward with a live action. But that was only a couple of months ago, and they go, oh, it's coming out in November. And I'm like, how have you kept under wraps that you're doing a Moana 2? And it was with a teaser trailer, which was just like a shot of the water zooming out or something. This, over D23 weekend, though, they had the actual trailer for it. And it hasn't grabbed me yet. I don't know whether I'm just like worried because it looks like it's a bit more of a bigger, more fantastical story than what. I mean, the first one she was battling like a smoke monster and dealing with an island that created life on Earth, but it still felt like a really small story. This one feels a lot bigger, but also hitting on some of the greatest hits, which I don't really care for those like mini pirate creature things from the first film.
Yeah, okay.
They seem to be back. They were like the end credit scene of the trailer. It's going, hey, these guys are back, and I'm like, I couldn't care less. But at the same time, I really loved the music. I'm hoping Lin-Manuel Miranda's coming back to write the songs for the second one, and the Rock's obviously back. The same again, lead voice actress is coming back. I think Tamora Morrison back as her father and things like that, looking to build off that the beautiful Pacifica story, and I love that. So I'm just hoping that Disneyland itself actually starts recognizing that movie, because I was there 5 years ago, but that was 2 or 3 years after the first Moana hit. There was, I'm not joking, of the entirety of Disneyland that I went to and California Adventure Park, the one just across the void.
Yeah.
I saw one shop have one tiny, tiny little section dedicated to Moana. And when I say section, there was like a box of toys of Moana. Other than that, absolutely no Moana represented that entire shared park. And I'm like, how? Like, there's Toy Story everywhere, there's Frozen everywhere, there's Incredibles everywhere, but there was no Moana. So hopefully people are actually starting to appreciate bloody Moana, because I love it.
I do have some news on Lin-Manuel Miranda. He won't be back.
Oh, God damn it. See, now
So Barlow and Bear are the songwriters. They start off on TikTok, and they've written Bridgerton the musical.
Okay.
And it's their, I guess, first massive opportunity to show what they can do. I imagine they're going to try and keep in the style and
it's important voices.
Honor the original.
Yeah, because the fact that dealt with, they had, some native languages into English and what those songs were about and what it meant to people and their story and culture and all that sort of stuff. So I'm sure they haven't picked this new, sorry, did you say there were 2 people? Or is it
Barlow
one person?
and Bear.
Okay, so it's, they've picked them for a reason that they will be able to carry over that sort of stuff as well. So, okay, you got
Abigail
me.
and Emily are their first names.
Okay.
The other musical one, sorry, I forgot this one, and I can't believe I did, because when this movie came out, it was massive. Hugh Jackman, Zac Efron, Zendaya.
Oh, yeah.
Michelle Williams.
Yes.
An incredible cast. Greatest Showman going to the stage. There's going to be a stage show of The Greatest Showman.
That's insane that it hasn't already, but yeah.
Yeah. I agree with you. It feels like it's, when that was released, you're going, hey, this is a musical. This is a movie musical all about something that can be entertaining in one space. You're seeing the greatest show. And to think that there wasn't, surely, as soon as the movie was released,
or that it wasn't based off a musical to begin with. So are you just mentioning that, or is that
that
Disney thing?
That is, Disney have announced that is happening.
Because that wasn't a Disney film, the original Greatest Showman with Hugh Jackman, was it? It doesn't matter, but I'm just.
It might be one of their subsidiaries.
Yeah, they might have picked it up along the way or something. Yeah, I wonder how much money, considering Disney just had him, or currently him starring in the biggest film of the year. So it will soon be, I'm sure.
But I wonder whether he will reprise his role, because he has done stuff on stage.
Surely they are throwing dump trucks of money.
I know Keala Settle,
even for like 2 months or something.
Keala Settle, who played the bearded lady, she's not coming back. Unfortunately, but I'd be interested to know who does take the stage for The Greatest Showman. I'd love to see Zac Efron reprise his role. I think that would be fun to watch. But I think Zendaya is probably a little bit past
See,
it.
I was thinking Zendaya would be more likely, but yeah, I think she's probably maybe not. Maybe Zac Efron would be the most likely as far as Hugh Jackman's most likely as far as that's what he does anyway.
Yes.
He
Yeah,
goes and does theatre,
Yeah.
comes back and plays Wolverine, goes and does a drama.
I was a High School Musical fan, so seeing Zac...
I've still never seen him, so...
Okay.
I think I just missed it.
No, that's
and
fair.
I would like to.
That's
I would
fair.
like to know what that world is. The fact that Disney have a show called High School Musical, the musical, the series, is enough for me to want to watch it.
Olivia Rodrigo, who starred in that, Josh Bassett as well, who allegedly dumped Olivia Rodrigo, started dating Sabrina
he's
Carpenter.
the guy.
He's
the guy that all of her songs are about.
He's
I
the
think
guy.
driving to work this morning, I heard, was it Vampire? And I remember that.
Yeah.
Is that like the lead single of her second album?
Yep.
And I remember one of our street team was saying, "Oh, this is about a breakup." And I'm like, "Oh, another bad one." They go, "No, it's the original one."
Yeah.
I'm like, "How's she got?" Sorry, I'm not to Taylor Swift this, but like, how has she gotten 2 albums out of one breakup? Must have been bad.
Yeah.
Right.
But he's totally moved on. He's in a much better place.
Well, so Sabrina Carpenter.
Exactly.
Like the whole next
I
relationship
know.
was broke. Like it's fine. You know.
Anyway, that's enough about those
Sorry,
guys.
just a weird tangent. There.
Yeah. I mean, we're nerding out about Disney stuff.
Yeah.
I guess we can. Did I see there's going to be a new Tron?
Yeah, they've been Tron Ares, it's called. This has been like in the works for a while because Tron what was the second one called? Was it Tron Uprising? Jeez, how do I even forget about that? That was Tron Legacy.
Yeah.
I think Tron Uprising was maybe a game or something else they were going to follow it up with. That was my introduction to that entire. I think I watched Tron, the 1984, I don't know, whatever year it was, original. When the movie stopped, I got in my car and went to the premiere of Tron Legacy. Like it was a big afternoon for me.
Yeah.
And even though like you go back and watch that film and it's like, even of the time, very bare budget like effects and what they were going for too, which was, I thought this story is ahead of its time. And I did enjoy Tron Legacy, but they've been, I think after that, it was 2010, they've been talking about a third one for so long, it was shelved. They've brought it back. Jared Leto was signed up to be the lead for a while. It sort of still was in production hell for a little while. And then, finally, I feel like we saw the first look of it maybe a year ago, at maybe the last Comic-Con or last D23 type event. So it's a while. I want to check out the actual release date of that one. But he's coming. They announced 9 Inch Nails are going to be doing the soundtrack for it, which is big because Daft Punk did the soundtrack for the second one. One of my favorite soundtracks of a film, I think, ever. Like, it's just the movie is perfect for their music is perfect for the film. Obviously Daft Punk not around anymore. You can listen to those songs, if you can call them that, on their own or as part of the film score, and they work, I think, both. But Tron Ares, what have we got? The 10th of October next year, so it is still a hot minute away. But Jared Leto, they've got listed Jeff Bridges is coming back as well, Evan Peters, Greta Lee from The Morning Show, Cameron Monaghan. I'm excited for it because I like that world and whatever they're going to do with it, but there's not much we know about it yet.
What other 9 Inch Nails? What other movies have they scored?
Trent Reznor, not 9 Inch Nails, but just Trent Reznor. He did The Social Network. That was I think a big one. Oh, geez, now I need to really check on that.
So we're doubling down on something.
We're googling live.
You definitely
here.
haven't looked into beforehand. He did The Social Network.
Good, and did he do the American remake of Girl with a Dragon Tattoo?
Correct, he did that.
Nailed it.
Another Pixar one, Soul. He did the Soul.
See, us talking about loving Pixar films, I've still never seen Soul.
Oh, dude, there is a sequence in that movie that phenomenal.
God, I wish you could just see the face lock he just had.
I'm tearing up right now.
Okay, I do want to. That was like a COVID one, right? Like it sort of was it released straight onto Disney Plus? Yeah,
it was.
And I missed. Is Turning Red a Pixar? That's a Pixar film, not just a Disney one.
Yep.
Yeah, I've still never seen that either. So I still need to make up. But
Dude.
kicking goals all over the place. But I will.
Yeah,
I'll put it on the list, and that list is very long.
I know you've got a long list.
It's a long list.
Even talking. We've been talking now for what, almost half an hour.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
And we haven't even touched on any of the Marvel or like Star Wars stuff.
Hey, we're getting your passions out of the way first. Yeah.
Well, I've got a meeting almost to go to in a sec, but that's okay.
Okay.
Maybe we can come back with a part 2.
just give the people what they want.
Exactly.
Okay, well, we're moving on because there is another one here that I've seen described for part of it as Nightmare Fuel.
Oh,
the
okay.
live-action Snow White, starring
yes.
Rachel Zeller from
Hunger Games.
The recent one.
Snakes.
Yep, Songa, and what was the West Side Story as well? She was in that. She is Snow White. Gal Gadot.
Yep.
Is the evil queen. And
I've heard rumors from their press that they don't like each other.
Oh, really?
Or at least Rachel doesn't like Gal. So that's going to be an interesting one because there's still a fair bit of press to do between now and release.
The original press, well, not even press, but I guess maybe it was the last D23 where they revealed a poster or something. I don't know. They were doing the rounds, and it was starting to stir a bit of controversy, probably off the back of some other stuff with Disney they've gone woke and they're doing all this other stuff and blah, blah, whatever. Not to dive into that. But that they came out and they said, look, this Snow White's going to be, it's going to be a little different, guys. It's really gross, the original story, because, like, she's just waiting for, like, a man to come and save her.
Yeah.
They really hammed on about how this was going to be a modern look at it, which is fine, but really like without showing us anything that they're doing, shit canning on
the original.
Not even just the original, but the legacy of like what is a 100-year-old story or whatever at this point, or however long it's been going on, the original story into the Disney stuff and whatnot. But everyone's like, okay, cool, show us, don't tell us at this point, because otherwise you're just trying to sound like you're trying to hit those trending hashtag words and make yourself seem relevant. We're not going to see your movie for quite some time, but it comes out March 20 for us next year. Okay. They debuted some footage. Have you seen?
I have seen. I believe it was footage from the movie.
Yep. So it's just called Snow White, but obviously it does feature the Seven Dwarfs, which I don't know whether they're not including that part of the name because that's a term that we don't use or can't use or shouldn't use, whatever that might be. But also, I think it's a case of like, well, we don't know whether because there were those two, like you had Snow White and the Huntsman with Chris Hemsworth and Kristen Stewart a couple of years ago, and then there was the other one with Lily Collins from Emily in Paris. So we had two Snow White-ish sort of movies out at the same time. One of them used actual little people, to play those characters, and then you had I think it was Snow White and the Huntsman, the Kristen Stewart one, where they used not little people to play the Seven Dwarves, and everyone's like, well, hang on. You get the first one, Mirror Mirror, it's like, what? You're shoving in little people and calling them dwarves? That's wrong. That's politically incorrect. And so the other film then, which was released a couple of months later, couldn't do anything as a reaction, used, 6 foot tall, blah, 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 5.5 foot tall actor. Nick Frost was one of them. And it's like, what? You can't give a little person a role that's playing a quote unquote dwarf? That's also wrong. That's all. So they can't win. In this, though, the nightmare fuel comes from the fact that these dwarves are CGI.
Yeah.
And they're not good CG.
No.
Like, now, look, the thing about movies, this comes out in March 20. This film, they'll be working on it until March 13, until the premiere that night. Someone will be running down with a hard drive and going, this is the final product. That's how these things work. And people, if you're ever blowing up about CGI looking shit.
Final _V17835.
Don't, if a movie comes out in a year and you see a teaser trailer, you go, the CGI looks bad. Doesn't matter. They work on that. That's the last thing they do. They're working on that right up until release date.
I feel the same way about the Lilo and Stitch live action movie that they announced.
Yeah, they've also
Stitch,
done that as well.
Stitch to
looks
me
too CGI.
Yeah,
right,
too
for
CGI,
a live action film.
Way too scary. Like he's lost his cuteness.
Okay, see, I've never seen the original Stitch.
Oh my goodness, you were really not the man to be doing this Disney
Look,
thing.
no, the thing is, I reckon post Hercules, which is 97. I want to say to like 98 to about 2000 and maybe 2003. There was a block of Disney that I just didn't. I was probably going out to see movies. I was going to see The Matrix because I was allowed to go to the movies by myself, right? I didn't go and see all the Disney stuff. And
Whereas that's when I was watching the kids stuff.
Prime, mate. So I'm still trying to work through that 25 years on. So I just think for this movie to. Something like The Lion King, they also showed the new trailer for Mufasa, the prequel story about the Lion King's father, the original Lion, whatever. Where the CGI, it's like great, but also it doesn't have to be real. You can make a CGI film. You don't have to make a live action film and put the pressure on yourselves to create, because they can't do humans. They just like CGI is great at the moment. You can look back at some of the stuff they did for Jurassic Park in '93. It still looks incredible. we still haven't figured out how to get past the uncanny valley and do a photoreal human. Some stuff you see on Twitter, AI looks to be doing a bang-up job, but, Disney and their hundreds of billions of dollars don't seem to be able to do it, nor any Hollywood studio. So the idea of making a Snow White film, which features at least 7 CGI characters, unless that's part of the deal, is to make them look CGI, and I don't think it is, the audience isn't going to, let you apologize for that and forgive you so easily. So, I don't know about that one. I haven't seen a full trailer yet. I'll obviously go watch it because I've seen all these live action remakes. I mean, the Beast from Beauty and the Beast a couple of years ago, he was a bit sketchy. I think they could have done more with that movie if it was mostly makeup, and then they just added to it with CGI rather than just making the full thing. But anyway,
practical stuff. Two more movies I'd love to just quickly mention. Avatar, Fire and Ice.
Yes, finally. Revealed the title for that one because that comes out at the end of next year. It'll be 3 years after number 2, and they said they were going to, the second film, they went and visited a tribe that was based in water. They said the next one we're going to be visiting the other elements, basically, of the world, and it's going to be, fire. And because everyone's like, well, you've stolen the name Avatar from The Last Airbender, which initially had it, and there was obviously every element and its own people and culture. And when James Cameron came out and said, the next one's going to be dealing with, like, the fire people.
Sure.
And all the original
Where's
Avatar
Zuko?
Last Airbender fan. What are those people called? What's, like...
They're just called the Fire Nation.
Right, the Fire Nation. People coming out going, if he calls it this, this, we riot.
Yeah.
So I think he comes out and says fire and ash. It's like, you just got away with that. So, it's funny to be hearing news about Avatar. Like, I want to see where Avatar 2 ranks in the box office at the moment, because number 1 is still the Supremo. But what I've always heard about that movie is from, film pundits the world over, that it has had no real, I think, visible cultural impact, in the sense that you can have a movie come out, doesn't do big gang, but it's a bit more of a cult hit, and people will dress up as that character when they go to cons, Halloween. It's something that always pops up. It's in your face all the time.
Or another example of a movie having a cultural effect, I was talking to a friend about this yesterday, is Inside Out, which obviously, massive Pixar movie. Inside Out 2 is now, I think, the biggest, or just second to the biggest.
It's of the year, or
of the year, I believe.
It's the biggest film of the year. I think it's the biggest animated movie of all time. It's sitting at like 1.6 or something like that. I'm looking it up at the moment, but it's still the biggest film of the year. Yeah.
But it's a movie that has it didn't coin the phrase, but the whole idea of core memories. It really made that, language that we all now use. Like, I use that with friends. Lots of people now are talking about the idea of core memories.
Inside Out 2 is the 10th biggest film of all time.
Wow.
At $1.59 billion. And it would still be at the movies in a lot of markets. But it's the 10th biggest film of all time. Avatar 1, biggest film of all time, 2.92. Avatar 2, third biggest film of all time with 2.32 billion. So
crazy.
2 of the 3 biggest films of all time are Avatar. And it's not like people are getting around in any way. Like, there's no weird Avatar parties that I'm aware of, unless I'm not in the right dark web circles, or Halloween, or cons getting around as big blue cat people.
Yeah.
Like, it just, and you go up there and I think it'd be a great trivia question. You go, give us the lead actor of the biggest film of all time. Who's pulling Sam Worthington out of their ass? No one's doing it, and he is. That man, that bloke from Perth, Australia, who was a bricklayer. 15 years ago, is all of a sudden, he is the lead actor of the 2 biggest films of all time. That is ridiculous.
That's
number 2 is Avengers Endgame. Like, most people go, give us the actor. Robert Downey Jr. Obviously, easy. Like, that's insane to me. So, third film coming, and that's at the end of next year. So, James Cameron working away, and there'll be 4 and 5 as well in the years to follow. So,
wow.
Oh, yeah, he's been working on that for a long time.
The other one I just want to quickly mention as well, Freakier Friday. Lindsay Lohan, Jamie Lee Curtis, Chad Michael Murray.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like a throwback to the 90s.
That's got my wife written all over it with Chad Michael.
My wife will be there. Our wives will be there going to the premiere instead of us.
Yeah, Freaky Friday 2003. So that falls right in that wheelhouse of movies that I've never seen. I mean, we've all seen a switcheroo movie. So I get the idea of it.
Yeah.
And I love Jamie Lee Curtis. And at the time, I would have been all about Lindsay Lohan too, let me tell you. So I've got to go watch that original, and then Freaky Friday. Do we have a little date for that? Do they say when that one's coming out?
No, they haven't. And they just announced the title of it.
Okay,
So
that's a shame.
they did an announcement, I believe. I believe they got Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan involved in the announcement as well. But just
undisclosed 2025 is all we have. So yeah. Right.
That's a lot.
That is a lot, and we haven't even touched on my stuff. So are we tapping out? Are we?
Look, surely we do a part 2.
Okay.
I mean, there's just so much to cover.
There is, and I know you've got a meeting. That's the most important. What, in 2 minutes?
2 minutes.
Okay, right. I better let you go, because otherwise it's just me sitting here talking about Marvel and Star Wars. And I mean, if you're listening this far anyway, you want to listen to this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know that people are prepared to listen to me just talk about that. If you do, though, I've got my own separate podcast that you can listen to.
I mean, give that a plug if you really want. But
Getting a geek, thank you. Yep.
Rach Corbett probably will be happy if we split this into 2.
Oh, so, for sure, yeah.
I think we do that.
Our big boss, love those numbers, guys. So listen to this one, you already have, and stay tuned for part 2 before the end of the week. I mean, we've got a public holiday coming up tomorrow, and we've got a public holiday today.
Yeah. Whenever
doesn't
it is,
matter. I'll cut all this out.
We're not recording this on the public holiday. I think we can.
I don't know where we'll have it at before the end of the week. Here I'm going to edit that. I'm going to leave all of that in. So we'll be back for a part 2, and Lachie's going to share his thoughts on the controversies around Star Wars and Marvel.
Yes,
Go do some research, mate. Pretend like you know what you're talking about.
Okay, sounds good.
The Ash, Lutzi and Susie O'Neill podcast is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcasts.com.au.